everybody, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here for this video. If you like these pure kind of just for the love of freaking makeup types of videos, you're in the right place. The last one I did like this was definitely where we dug through my Hall of Fame makeup drawer. That was so much fun. I think this is going to be equally fun, and I believe the request for this video came in the comments of that one where somebody said you should do a video on the most ingenious packaging, and I thought, yeah, let's do it. And my mind started going back to all these things that I remember from when I was in high school and all these different products, and it's like, no, I really feel like I have to have the product on hand and it should be something current right now, not calling this like the greatest packaging of all time, because I think it's something you need to see. That's kind of what it's all about, is like showing how it works. So if it was something that I couldn't even so much as find a picture of back in the day, I was like, I'm not gonna open it up to that. So for the most part, pretty much everything is available now. There might be some limited availability on a couple of things, but it's all stuff I have that I can show you. Also, if it's gonna be about the packaging, you know, the way the product is put together, that's what it's gonna be about. So we're not saying that it's the cutest, we're not saying that it's like the most glamorous, most extravagant packaging, but it's about the smartest, most practical, functional packaging for a number of different reasons. And I'm not really talking about the quality of the makeup inside. Some of these might not even be my all-time like favorite makeup products, but the way they're put together is brilliant. So that's what we're going to cover today. And I've come up with 15 different products that I feel very strongly about. Everything from palettes to brushes. We've got a skincare item, some just various things. And in some cases, the thing that makes it so special can be a really small, subtle thing. So keep that in mind. And another thing to note is that when a brand is good at packaging, they may be good at packaging in several different ways. So there's a few brands repeating in terms of doing really smart things with the way they put their products together. So the thing I'm going to start with, and this might be a little bit random all over the place, but doesn't matter. The Smashbox Always Sharp liners. These are the liners that have a self-sharpening cap, so every time you twist it off, you get a perfectly pointed tip with your liner. And I feel like these were kind of a hot item when they came out, but you know, they're still kicking, they're still around, and I don't hear that many people talking about them, but they're really nice liners as well. Creamy, easy to apply, and part of that may be you're getting a freshened up liner. Every time you twist off this cap, it's getting nicely pointed. And they have lip liners that are this way as well. This shade that I have right here is the color called Penny Lane, and I've had several of these and I haven't really noticed any like malfunctions with them. They've really come up with something here that does seem to work, and I love it. Also, doesn't hurt that the liners do not smudge away. Here's another cool thing that Smashbox has done, and I bought this sometime within the last year, but this concept with their powder has also been around for a while. This is the Photo Finish Fresh Setting Powder in shade 01, so it's just kind of like a translucent type powder. Looks like this from the outside. They do that cute little like camera lens idea. Opens up like a compact, but what's happening here with this mechanism is fresh ground powder, they call it. So they even say right here, twist for fresh powder. So if you're one who's like, I enjoy using loose powder, but I don't like sort of the mess associated with it, here you can loosen up what you want just right when you want to use it. So let me show you here. Hopefully we're in focus. You twist, and can you see the product coming out? It just grinds right out. And then you've got enough for your face at the moment, but you don't have more than you need. It's kind of borderline gimmicky because you wouldn't have to do things this way, and I'm not sure that there's a massive advantage to having the powder just freshly cranked off like that, but it does apply well. I've set my whole face with it today, and there's something to be said for those who travel a lot and are wanting to use a loose powder on their skin, but you don't really want it shaking out completely into your cap. Let's go deeper into that idea actually with the BareMinerals and what they've done, how they've improved their mineral packaging of loose powders. This is really great because they've got the twister here, but what they're also doing, there are little holes that your powder is going to come out of. And this little twisty cap actually has fillers. So when you've clicked it all the way over, those holes get filled. So in many cases, what's happened with powders these days is they've got something twisting over the sifter, right? But underneath the twister, stuff's still shaking out. Like, no, it's not shaking out all up into your cap, but this whole section is like filling with powder. Here, they found a way to actually fill those holes, twist over them, and you have no mess with your loose powder. So I think that's a pretty smart idea, and they're doing it with all their loose things. I've got a mineral veil here. But do you know what I mean of those other products that have like a cap, a slider type thing that twists over the holes, but then stuff always still shakes out underneath that? This is the best way I've seen to do it. And this is all just my opinion here, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Here's probably one of the smartest, most jam-packed brow products that I have. The brand is Doll 10. I did a video all about this brand, I want to say over a year ago, and this is a 3-part brow product, but it's all contained in this perfect skinny stick. So first off, and I did my brows with this today to kind of refresh my memory, and it's really nice quality too. You've got a little skinny pencil here, but it's kind of like an oblong skinny pencil. I haven't seen anything quite this skinny, but still in practically this rectangular shape. Most of them are thicker and chunkier than this, so I do think that's a cool design there at that end. Then if you twist right here, you've got like this spring-loaded dabber for brow powder. So you can go over it. You can use these steps, you know, just one of them. You could overlap them, but this fills in your brows really, really fast if you want to go over them with that powder. Then at the very tail end, what you've got is a skinny brush and like a brow gel that you can use to set everything. Holds it in place, tints it a little bit. Again, this could be the quick one-step job if that's all you wanted to do, or it pairs great with either of the other 2 steps. But look at that, it's just one pencil. It might be a little longer than your average pencil. Let's find Smashbox here. There's how it compares lengthwise to the Smashbox, which is pretty standard. But it's so much all in one, and all of those very different functions. I think that's a really smart idea. Here's something kind of interesting. It's from the brand Wander. They have this Glow Ahead face oil, and here's what's special about this. Every other face oil that I own is with this dropper. You got to twist it off. It's a dropper. Many of them are glass bottles. Here, I guess Wander decided the people can handle a squeeze tube for their face oils. You can see there's like a little bulb practically at the end, and there's a little channel leading up to that. And you never really get out too much. Like the product sinks in there, but then it doesn't really come out until you give the tube a squeeze. And this is one of those kind of like duh ideas. Like, why aren't more brands just giving that to us in a squeeze tube? Because it's less fussy, it's less of a big deal compared to everything in a dropper and a glass bottle, and no doubt easier to travel with. The cap twists on nice and tight. I'm not worried about anything leaking out. Even the inner cap, like they've made it so that it completely comes in contact with the tip of the squeeze tube. Nothing's going to be shaking out of this. It's not like rocket science, but it makes you wonder, why do we have to have everything with a dropper? The squeeze tube is fine, and they've created, I think, a very controlled way of using it. Not just any squeeze tube would be perfect, but this is great. All right, if we want to talk subtle, brilliant packaging, this is what I mean by that. Bobbi Brown, the crushed liquid lip. This is kind of like, they called it liquid lip balm. I love this product. I feel like the closest thing from the drugstore is the Revlon Ultra HD vinyls, but this particular part about this product is special and very unique to the Bobbi Brown, and I'm talking about the doe foot applicator. Can you see at the base of the doe foot here how the entire surface that's going to come in contact with your lips is coming away from the wand? Right here, it kicks out a little bit, okay? And you can feel it when you put it on. You can feel that edge perfectly rimming the outer part of your lips. So the top part's going to give you the nice Cupid's bow, right? This is going to give you that definition there. But when you're going around the bottom side of your lips, you're not just having this no man's land of doe foot floating right into the wand, but it kicks out. They've made it go in and out. Here's what it looks like, a little high heel. Let's look at it that way. In and back out. And the fact that it goes out, you can feel that on your lips, and you get a really nice precision when you apply the product. You lose some of that precision when you try to talk the entire time you're putting it on. But that is so cool, and I don't think I've seen that on a single other product. Another kind of kind of cool thing some applicators do, and the Revlon does this, is they've made sort of a little well inside the doe foot so it holds some extra product. And I think that's kind of cool, but I'm seeing that more, and that's not super unique these days. Real Techniques are the queens of being like super innovative, but still at some really fair prices. I think this is a brilliant brush right here. They actually have come out with several. I've talked about them in videos before, but this is an adjustable brush, and my favorite one that they make is the one called Custom Complexion, because I feel like this can really effectively be like foundation, concealer, really all those face steps. And what they've got here is a max, mid, and min level along the side. So if you choose max, if you just push this retractable brush up that far, you get kind of the max coverage effect from it. See, the bristles are still being squeezed together. It's only coming up a little bit. It's going to be perfect for like really pinpointed concealer. Then you can go up to the mid level, and there's going to now be a little more brush sticking out. There's a little bit more mobility to the bristles, and that's going to be great for like full coverage application of your foundation, buffing it in. And then if you go min, you're going to get the minimum level of coverage, but your brush is really like a full traditional brush here. This could still be good for liquid foundations, maybe a little less coverage. You could apply powder foundations with this. You could apply just plain powder. This could also work for blush. This could also work for bronzer. It becomes a very versatile brush just by having these little adjustment points. And then when you want to put it away, it's like if you're a makeup bag user, it's the perfect thing for the person who is operating out of a makeup bag day to day, maybe doing their makeup on the go, concerned about just tossing brushes in a bag and how do they live like that, you know, how do they keep their shape? You don't worry about it here. You got all face steps and it's all tucked back into the brush. They've also got an angled one. There's one other, but this one really I think is the best. Another thing I have to point out from Real Techniques, and this is another smart design that they've come up with, their RT Go brush. First off, just as far as brushes are concerned, I love that size and shape of what's happening there. I got this and I've like not stopped using it since I got it for foundation. It's great for all these light coverage products that I have, the BB creams, the tinted moisturizers. You want to kind of make the most of them on your skin. This brush just sweeps over them so easily. A great beginner foundation blending brush too, because you just don't have to work that hard. It covers so much surface area all at once. And then here's what's brilliant. They hide a little extra brush underneath so you can get to those pinpointed areas. I'll admit this brush does a lot of the job, but it's nice to know that this is also there and it just tucks right in, snaps inside. I was also realizing today as I was doing some cream eyeshadows, it can be great about just blending out the edge of your cream shadow. You may find multiple functions for this little brush on the inside, but I love Real Techniques. I love that they come up with stuff like that. Let's talk Urban Decay. They have come up with some really smart packaging ideas over the years. One thing that is super cool that I've rediscovered through like looking through my entire stash and seeing what's so brilliant packaging wise, definitely going to be pulling these out again. The Lo-Fi Lip Mousse. These little lip compacts, and it's like, okay, if I'm going to apply a lip product that's not coming straight from a stick or it's not coming from a doe foot and I'm going to use an applicator for it, it's got to be handy as heck. So here, look. You open it up, watch this little area right here, side view. I open it up, it's offering me up the little applicator, and boom, there's your product with the mirror there. They have made this user-friendly, on-the-go, sort of lip palette style product, but they made it so easy. And this is a very cool product too, because it gives you that pillowy kind of look to the lips. It's matte, but it's almost like applying it this way, instead of it being that liquid dry down matte, it's like a soft, almost a little bit sheer matte. It's very cool, and this shade called Echo is one of my faves. The fact that the applicator, which is kind of like a little bit of a rubberized sponge tip, I love that you put it there and then look, takes it back in, then offers it back out to you. I love that. That is so smart. It had to be that way. For this to impress me, it had to be like a mess-free way to put a lip applicator into a product, because when it's just shaking around and you've got a mirror involved, then it's going to hit up to the mirror and stuff's going to blot up there and it's going to become messy and you're not going to want to use it. But here, if you got a little home for it, and it always goes into that home, it's great. That is the coolest little lip compact idea I have ever seen. I love love that. Another one of Urban Decay's best ideas has been the ShapeShifter palette. This is going to be one of those things that I think is kind of limited availability these days. It comes in 2 different shade options, the light to medium, and then there's a deeper version, and it's going to be spotty coming up with this if it's something you're interested in. But basically, this is a compact that's really small, really nice size. It's jam-packed with product. It also has a mirror, but it's perfect separation of cream and powder. Anybody who's ever gotten frustrated about powders floating into their creams, they are separated by this mirror. And if you only want to use from one side, look, the mirror moves. So you can just treat it like it's a cream compact here. It's a contouring thing, as you can see. You've got your deep contour, you've got a cream like light kind of bone shade, you've got color correctors in here, peachy correctors, and a cream illuminator. I've had this product for quite some time. The stuff has still not dried out. Then flip the mirror and you've got your powder products. I see it as like a contour, a bronzer, a light setting powder, a powder highlight. So smart to do it that way, to create that separation. It is such a sturdy compact. I mean, I don't feel like anything is going to crack or break this. Not the first time I've been really impressed by Urban Decay palette packaging. They have made amazing lip palettes. Another thing I loved in my collection is the Back Talk palette, which I don't think is available anymore. That followed this design as well, except the mirror actually lifted out of that, but it was eyes on one side, face on the other. Let's talk IT Cosmetics and their beauty books. This is another thing that's kind of seasonal. It comes out around the holidays. This is the latest one, but I just have to show you because they are really dominating at packing the most stuff into a small space. And here's how they go about separating product. It just completely keeps folding out like that. So you've got your eyes and potentially really dark powders like your dark liners and everything down here. It's all separated. You've got that panel coming in there, right? And by the way, these shadows are classic IT Cosmetics quality. They give you that superhero eye foundation, which is like a really full coverage matte powder. And then this is the Universal Taupe Brow Power powder, and this superhero liner that's a really pigmented black powder. So that's there. Then you've got your blush, your lips, and this is actually a cream highlight right over there on that side. So they're not really separating the cream and powder, so to speak. They could have maybe shifted concealers over to one side, brought a blush over here. But with this, it's more about just the ability to pack so much in one small space, and it really works well. I haven't had anything drying out on me. The powders that do sit right by creams, they are not like big fallout generators at all. That's the Bye Bye Pores pressed powder. And that was another really neat thing about this, is they included actual known products in here, not just a big slew of limited edition stuff. It's all stuff people know and love, but they packed it into a small space and made it incredibly travel friendly. And you've probably been waiting for it, but the balm. I love the balm's packaging. They are ultimately really cute with all of their designs, their naming. They're incredibly good at what they put together. But one of their best things that they've ever done has been the In the Balm of Your Hand palettes. I'm kind of counting these as one number in my lineup if you're counting along with me, because I know volume 1 is not going to be available. Volume 2 you will be able to find. But what they did here is they recognize the fact that the products they put out, they do not over-release. They put out things and they become kind of iconic. There's certain blushes that they've had, the bronzers, the Mary Luminizer highlights. They all have a distinct identity in their packaging, and they're recognizing that, and they are making something of it here. Because look, when you open up the palette, they outline every product with like the original packaging style that it came from in its own compacts. And you know what that does? That makes people identify with it. That makes people say, oh, this palette is something special because I'm getting that exact thing. Yes, I've definitely compared quality to the originals. They're all identical to the original products. Even the eyeshadows that they've taken out of palettes, they've rimmed them basically in the design of the palette they came from. It's so smart. And then the volume 1 has a little cream panel over here, which is so cool. So you lift that up, and they've given you one of their lipsticks and also one of their cream blushes, but you're not going to have to get into that if you want to just keep that covered. That was very smart. And smart not just from the way it was physically put together, but just also the idea of taking your products and making them so special. So many brands just release zillions of things in so many colors, and does anybody really remember anything specifically? Here with the balm, now here's the volume 2 that they've put out. This is what you can get your hands on these days. Same idea, but some different colors that they've put in. They do still give you Bahama Mama in both, and you get the Mary Luminizer in both. So basically the bronzer and the highlight. But here are 3 different blushes and like 4 different great eyeshadows from palettes like Balm Jovi and the Meat Matte palette, the Nude Dude palette. I just got cut off as I was listing all that stuff. But additionally, on the outside, you know, it's just designs from iconic products that they've made, and they managed to do so much. They managed to make such an impact with their product, but it's super thin. They didn't overdo it. They didn't give us something that's the size of a Trapper Keeper for these products, right? It's just really compact and nice, but yet something very meaningful. Meaningful would be the word. And my last thing, I think we're already to the last, oh no, we've got one more after this. This is something else that I love that the Balm has done more recently. It's their Balm Fire Highlighting Shadow and Blush Duos. So they've got a couple of different blush formulas. One is really kind of glimmery, has a little bit of sparkle to it. If you do apply it to the cheeks, some of that kind of dusts away actually. And then a really, really smooth, like almost highlighter blush combo. We're talking like the blushes in the Cotton Candy Champagne palette. That's sort of what the bottom layer is. But instead of giving us a wide compact, we've got a compact that feels like the size of one standard blush because they've done the stacking. You do get a mirror, but they're stacked like that. This is my favorite one. It's the one called Game Day. Again, with the little retro kind of pin-up girl type packaging. It's always so cute. But what they've also done in separating these is the one that might have a little bit of sparkle or just a teeny bit of flake to it is kept totally separate from your nice smooth one on the bottom. So that's kind of cool. And I just love how space saving that is, because most brands would put them out side by side and you'd have a palette twice as wide. Here they keep it so super slim. That's what one blush would be like from most brands. Oh geez Louise, I forgot, I've got 2 things left still. From Fenty Beauty, classic example of how this is not really my favorite product makeup wise, but it is a really cool idea in terms of the design. So they've got these things called matchsticks, and they're cream face products. Like I've got something called Yacht Life here. This would be my blush. There's a couple of formulas. So you got the shimmery ones like Yacht Life and Starstruck. I'm also wearing this as my highlight today. But creamy stick products, not maybe quite as creamy as I would like them to be, and I really sense that with the cream contour because a lot of blending is required with this, but there's a cream contour. And then I've got just this light stick called Linen that you could use in contrast with your contour. But the best part about these is that they magnetize together. Yes, it's too bad there haven't been more like magnetic closures in this video, but that's a little more common. I think somebody tweeted me and said, could you just do a montage of all the best magnetic closures? That's another video for another day. That's not really a unique thing, magnetic closures, so I didn't really think it belonged in this video, but is it satisfying? Oh, totally. But what's neat and special here is that these products come together, and the fact that they do, it's another one of those makeup bag friendly products. The person who is operating out of a bag or maybe just a drawer and you're looking for one thing, these things do kind of all go together in the same sequence, and you grab them out and they're all magnetized together. It's just great. I like the kind of honeycomb idea. You could build like a massive honeycomb of these if you had a bunch. If you do have a bunch of these, send me a picture. That would be fun to see. If you've got kids, no doubt they would like to play with this stuff, but I really think that's a cool concept in bringing together the products they have, and really smart from like a money-making perspective, because a person's not going to want to have just one of these. They're going to want to have at least 2, probably 3 or 4. So the fact that they all stick together, it keeps people using them together and not just grabbing one. They're using them together. They're hopefully using them up if they like the formula. I'm not such a big fan of the formula, but you get what I'm saying. Lastly, on the topic of magnets, my actual magnetic lashes are downstairs, but I can show you a package that has them inside. So this is the Kiss magnetic lashes. These, in my opinion, are the best magnetic lashes on the market. They cling to a magnetic eyeliner that I have right here. But what's special about the magnetic lashes, it's probably good that I have an empty package here to show you. Can you see what's sitting right here? Little magnets. The lashes themselves, when you go to put them back in their package, they are not clinging on with glue. They're clinging on to magnets, and that means they come off really easily and they stay in nicely to keep their shape. So I really need to get my other pair back in there. I was wearing them just yesterday, but look how they come off and they cling back on. Okay, a lot of people who might be looking to use magnetic lashes are using them because maybe they've got a sensitivity to lash glue, and it makes no sense that a brand would create a magnetic lash and then make them cling to their packaging with glue, but I've seen it. I've also seen there be too many magnets and it pulls at the lash. Here, you just need a couple, it clings them in perfectly in place, and that's the way to do it. And this is like a drugstore price range brand, and they have, I think, completely figured it out as far as the magnetic lash game goes. So guys, these in my opinion are the most ingenious packaging designs. I think they are smart, they are practical, even in really, really small, subtle ways, they're doing something so right. And in some of them, in really big ways, they're doing something right. And I've got plenty of other things that are cute or more extravagant or just a little more crazy or out there, but these are the ideas that I think are the smartest ones I've seen. So let me know what you think in the comments section. I would love to get a discussion going here, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.